Hi all. So here, as you can see that I have total 10 plus years of experience and 7 years in Liferay, and specific to Liferay, different versions of Liferay. I started since 2014 and worked in a Liferay 6.2, which is community edition. Then 7.0 again it's community edition. In 7.0 itself, I have started working in DXP versions, which required activation key, which is enterprise edition we call it, and then continued with 7.1, 7.2, 7.3. I mean, as per the time goes, right, we need to upgrade the skills, upgrade the technologies. Even at project level as well, we have been upgrading from 7.0 to 7.2, 7.3 as per the releases comes up. So since we are using DXP enterprise editions, so we get a call from the no DXP team itself. They come and update us. Okay, boss, now 7.3 has been released, 7.4 is going to release in this year or that year. So they probably, I mean, properly they provide the schedule. Based on that, we do upgrades to the existing ones. Coming to the Liferay, different topics what we have Liferay portlets, we have theme fragments, wrapper services, activation keys, and different stuff from the control panel which is available in Liferay. This is kind of overall stuff we have. Coming to the demo, I mean, what all I'm going to cover as a part of this demo. So obviously initially we'll talk about the introduction to Liferay, then what all the features we have, what are the out of box portlets and applications we have in Liferay, and what are the flexibility available to be customized to meet to the actual requirement of the customers, and then talk about the portlet theme fragments and wrapper etc. So whatever, I mean, we have which comes in terms of actual development, we are going to cover all those at high level. Okay, and we'll showcase how actually the application looks like once we complete the portlet and stuff. So initially let's talk about the comparison between the existing application development in Java and then how it comes into the into the Liferay. So it is a kind of mix of out of box features plus customized one which we implement. So when we talk about any application development, so if you talk about Java, so we have to do everything like UI till backend till any service layers we have, everything will be done in Java, which we have to do it manually, which takes a lot of time. You have to write UI stuff, you have to write the CSS JavaScripts for everything, and then we'll have backend services, everything you need to implement. If everything you need to write it and then deploy it to make it available to be consumed. Now even in terms of backend also, there is no automatic applications available. So for that again you need to build it functionality wise, then UI services backend database everything manually. But here in Liferay what happens is, when we create service builder, automatically lot of, I mean, tables has been created, columns has been created, entities will be available to use it. So a lot of things are automated. Okay, so in term, I mean, if I put it in a single point, single line, so which I can frame this way saying that if the same application we are doing in Java, it may take a year of time, but in Liferay it can reduce the time, which may it can save the cost as well. If one I mean, if we do implementation in Java, it takes 1 year. In Liferay it may take in 3 to 4 months. So that's where it saves the time and cost, which will give the benefit to the organization and to the client as well. So it's kind of features we have, and let's talk about the features available in Liferay. Just trying to showcase how it is running in my local. As you can see that, right, Liferay DXV 7.310 SP Service Pack 1. So this kind of version right now I'm working on. Okay, I think I need to restart my server. So meanwhile, I'll be talking about other stuff and we'll start the server. Okay, so this is the stuff. Let me comment out some of the properties which will enable us to log in properly. So meanwhile, you can refer it how we restart, how things goes up here. So whenever we open the Liferay server, we call it a Tomcat bundle. So what will happen? You will find something like this. this will be the directory. We'll have data, deploy, elasticsearch, license, OSGI, all those stuff. And here you can see the Tomcat, which is inbuilt with the Liferay. So basically it will start same like how we start the Tomcat externally. If you want to add an ID, we can do that as well. Okay. So let me start my server. Meanwhile, I'll talk about tools and technologies, what all we need. Okay. So now server is gone. Now let me start it. Okay, so server is starting. Meanwhile, I'll talk about what are the tools and technologies what we need. Okay, and later I'll introduce about these features, out of box portlets available, and what are the portlet and theme fragments we can do it. Okay, so let's move on next. I'll come back to it later. Okay, so for example, say local setup, what all we need, right? So here, initially, obviously Java it required, as we have to start developing the codes, right? Source code level, and then building and deployment tool Java 8. Developer Studio is nothing but kind of IDE like Eclipse. So if I can show you, this is the Developer Studio. It will look like same like Eclipse, but basically it's a Developer Studio. It will have Liferay icon. If you see this one, right? If you can see my cursor, so if we click on this icon, all these option comes up. New Liferay module, all this. We can do it in Eclipse also. For that, we need to add plugin. So obviously from help, we can go here and install software, right? Install new software. So here we need to place the repository of Liferay and then we can add it. But since it is already a developer studio, it has already everything. Okay. So here you can get option to create module project, workspace, plugin, all these options. These all are from Liferay. Okay. So this is what we call it ID as a developer studio. Then let's move on to next things what we need, database. So either of that, MySQL, Postgres, or any of the things for practice you need, you can do it, and then we can configure JDBC property from Liferay so that it will create all the tables required for Liferay here, and you can play around with that. I mean UI till backend. What all the items will be stored in database, in which database, what will be the table structure, all those stuff you can see it. Okay, and we can create custom table as well as per the need. Let's move on the next thing what we need as part of setup, Liferay bundle, as I said. So initially what will happen is you will find, if once you download, it will look like this. If I showcase you, you see this Liferay DXP Tomcat SP1. This is the kind of zip version you downloaded. Then you unzip it, you will find something like this. And then if you open it, it will look like this. So initially data will not have much, it might be empty, and deploy will be there, and you'll find some of the folder like work and things will not be available at the beginning. For example, say this will not be there at the beginning. Once we restart the server, we need to place it, and this is the file where we need to have JDBC properties. Okay, I'll talk about that in details. This is just a demo, so I'll, for showcasing you, I'll show you. So here you can see that, right, we have JDBC. Along with that, we'll have further properties which might be out of box. I mean custom, either from Liferay property enabling disabling certain things, or we'll have custom property as well. So for example, say these, you can see these are the custom properties. Okay, as a part of application, if we need, we can place it here. And for example, say these, right, so this is nothing but a Liferay default properties. So custom as well as Liferay properties, we can do it. So this is part of local setup, what all we need, bundle. And then to communicate with the database, we have database, MySQL or Postgres, whatever you prefer it, you can do it. Then ID developer studio to work on the source code, build and deployment, all those stuff. Okay, and in ID we'll have one more thing, I mean Gradle task. So in order to build and deployment your application, right, to generate the artifacts like how it generate in Java, so you'll have var files, right? Similarly we have jar files. So instead of Maven, I have it here Gradle task. And if I open any of the module, find the build and deployment stuff. So you see all the task build, and here we'll have deploy, we have clean. So all these tasks how we do in Maven, we have everything in Gradle in ID. So once we create module, it will generate required task here. We can double click and generate it. Okay. So this is how it works. Apart from that, let me check whether server started or not. Still starting. Okay. And a mock interview is something that after end of the sessions I'll be providing it, so that you'll be confident enough what all the question must be asked, how will I need to answer it, what all I need to prepare it for the interviews. All those I'll cover. And certifications. So in Liferay, what will happen is based on different versions, we have different certificates. But since right now 7.3 is the latest one, so I mentioned all the certification which is in 7.3. Backend development, I mean Portlet, theme, all those stuff. That is more in backend. I mean Portlet, wrapper classes, wrapper service classes. I mean that is the part of backend. Front is like front end like theme, layout, and we'll have to design basically the front end. So front end includes theme and layout, and even fragments which we override the existing JSP. That is called front end. So front end will cover this certification 7.3. In backend already I covered it. I think I mentioned the same thing twice. It might be I think 7.2 instead of 7.3. I mean it's the same, but we have different versions basically. Okay, not exactly the same. 7.1, 7.2, 7.3. So we'll have front end as well as backend certifications. So whichever you're interested in, if you're good in UI, you can go for front end development certification. And if you're good in backends, you can do that as well. And if you want both, we can do full stack kind of certifications. Okay, I mean backend and front end both. And what else we have? Yeah, end of the session, you will be getting the certification from the MindMajix as well. So server starting. Meanwhile, I can show you something. You have to wait for it. Okay, started. Wonderful. This is basically my real-time application. So some of the things which are not accessible, I mean, without VPN. So that's the reason I changed those, removed those, and restarted the server to make it accessible. Okay, so now you can see that, right? This is how it looks like when you restart your server. When you download the Liferay bundle for the first time and restart your server, it will look exactly the same the way it is looking right now. When I click on sign in, it will take you to the page where you need to log in. And when I click on sign in, it will show me the exact everything available in Liferay. Okay, so now you can see this is how exactly it looks like. I'm in Liferay, which is completely out of box. Right now, nothing added custom. Okay, so right now, if you can see here in left hand side, left top, we'll have control menu. If I open this, you'll have all these options. You'll have site. Site means whatever website you want to create, you can give the name, and then you'll have design, and then you'll have site builder. Here we can create number of pages we want. Okay, then we have content and data. So one of the thing which we have in Liferay, there is no need to build and deployment also. Directly you can do the things in UI and you can publish it to display in UI itself. Nothing, there is no nothing to do in backend. So which solves many of the problem. For example, say static contents for any of the site, right? Directly you can do it here. No need to do it at any level, at source code level. I mean building and deployment, committing, all this. In any of the environment, you can do it directly. It is nothing to do with source code. This is one of the out of box features we have, content and data. I'll talk about it in some time, but before that, just wanted to show you the navigations. So here we'll publishing. configurations, design, all this stuff. That is one. And second thing which is very important is we have here right hand side. Let me show it again. Open menu, I mean rectangular block, right? If you click on this menu, you'll find very important thing here in life, or every time you come, that is called application and control menu, control panel. In control panel you can see users management completely, users and organization, user group, roles. Obviously in real time, if you work on any application, you see different kind of user will have different access, right? For that management we have users, roles, user group, right? For example, say if any organization will have director, manager, then employees, right? So who will access what, we can manage it here, user management. Then we have site, I mean website name, what you want to create with, right? Then configuration, all this to control basically the flow, how you want to display, how your application must look like, who must be accessing what, right? All this. And how you, if you want to do anything at your server level, you'll have server administration, again what you want to hide, what you want to deploy, what you don't want to enable or disable, so everything you'll find it here. And here at the end you can see sites, Liferay sites, Liferay DXP global, so this is default site you will find. But if you want to have your own custom, I'll show you how to do it. So for example, say right now if I go to, if I click on any page, home, I clicked on home. So now I am into the home page, and this is the default portlet, you can see hello world. And if you look at the URL in the top right, so this will look like this. We can change the from web to different name also. For example, say right now I am into the guest site, I haven't selected any of the site, custom site. I have created the site, I will show you how it will look like. So right now Liferay site was selected, that is why URL was coming like this. Now if I select mine HR1 stop, now you can see the URL has been changed like this. And if I click on the page, page will also come along with that URL. You can see that, right? So this is how it looks like, complete URL. So whatever your site name, it will come here, and now the page name. Now the group means earlier it was coming bev. Now group means private pages. I'm into the private page. If it is public page, then it will be bev instead of group. So this is how site management works. So intention is to show you the out of, I mean navigations what all we have. Now coming to the out of box and custom portlets. So now what you're seeing in the page, that is a custom portlet which I have created in my ID and build and deployed. So this will look like this, and it will have all the options of remove, configuration, and where to add it. I'll show you it here. There is a plus option in the right hand side. If you click on plus, it will display all the portlets, out of box as well as custom one. So initially you can see asset publisher, document media, web content, all this out of box. Now coming to the custom, it will be down somewhere based on the category you mention in your coding, I mean source code. So right now see one stop application, this is not out of box, this is custom. Okay, so if I click on sample, you can see number of applications here bottom. You can see hello world, which was displaying in the main page, right? When I open this, launch this application. So this is nothing but a hello world is a custom, I mean out of box one. Classic theme out of box again. Then we'll have here search. So here if I for example say search, I want to add it in the page. So let me do one thing, I'll go to the test page somewhere and I'll start adding. For example, say home. I'm into the home page, it looks to be completely blank. So now let me add something into the home page, which is going to be out of box. Okay, so for example say tools, and we have it here search tool. Okay, so right now just now I've added the search, it is still adding. Let's get it added first. You see that search, Now it is added, and now if I want to search something, for example, say I'll make it search test, search it, it will display basically the results whichever is there with the keyword. Not sure how many results is going to display since it is newly launched. It is my local. How many contents I have added, I'm not sure about it, but let's see. Yeah, so now you can see that nothing much, but basically whatever coming with text, it is coming here. You can see the results, right? So this is the out of box. So real time what we do, obviously we need search functionality, but look and feel we can change. To change the look and feel, we have to customize the JSP. I mean this how it is looking right now, right? So we can change the JSP. So in real time, we have option to create a fragments. I mean fragment is to customize the JSP, only UI part. So that option we have, so we can customize it. Later going forward, I'll showcase you when we start the session how I have done in my site. You can take a look on it. So all flexibilities we have. Okay, so let me remove this out of box and let's add the custom ones. Any of that which I just added it for testing. So for example, the test module, I must not have done much, but this is only for testing. So I've created a test module, and here you can see that hello from this. And this hello is coming if I go to UI, I mean backend, and show you how that looks like. I think it will be here. Module, test module, you'll find it. Is it there? Okay, I think I must have removed it from here. But how basically it will look like, I'll show you. So if you go here, I mean in directory, source main resource, you'll have view.jsp. Okay, so whatever we have, we display it here. So the portlet which I dropped in the page, that does not have much, just a test. So it is coming from that JSP. Okay, so it will have setup, I mean controller plus JSP. So whatever path we mention it here. For example, say if I open the controller, don't be confused. This is very beginning. It looks to be a little complicated to you, but just for understanding, I'm saying what we do, we basically give the path. So you can see it here, right? One of the property. These all will come by default, don't worry. Basically only difference is we will mention it here, the location. So I said html reference dot list dot jsp. So you can see that html reference list dot jsp, the same thing will be displaying in the page. So since I did not written much in that jsp, that's why it is coming like this. Okay, now let me remove it. I will show you one thing very different, very simple, as I was telling you out of box. This is about custom, just at high level. I did not cover in details. So for example, say web content display, right? If I drop it, right? So right now it is just web content display. It doesn't have anything. So for example, if I go and check that, it's a completely empty portlet I have dropped, out of box portlet. It does not have anything, right? Now it is asking to select web content. So let me see if I have created any web content or not. If not, then I may have to create it. Then I can add here. You see, this page looks to be blank. That means there is no web content till now created. So let me do one thing. What I'll do is I'll quickly create a small web content to showcase. That's it. So it will be here, as I said, content and data and web content. If I go to web content, I'll get option to add the web content. You can see right hand side plus option. Click on plus, basic web content. This is for understanding. Later we'll talk in details how custom web contents gets created. Okay, in web content, once it is loaded, we'll do it. But along with that, let's do one more thing. We have something called fragment. Is it done? Not. I'll showcase the fragment as well parallelly along with web content. That is also out of box. So for example, say for that what I need to do is I need to create a page, and that has to be content type page. So for example, say here, so we have visit page and different other options are available. So for now, I'll select here blank, and I'll give some name. For example, say content. Okay. Now I need to select. Okay. So now you can see this is the thing, home, about us, and this is the content page just now I've created. Okay. So in that content page, we have all drag and drop options. Okay. So for example, say if I click on this menu, fragment and widgets, you can see it, right? Fragments, containers, everything. So for example, say if you want to have some HTMLs, we can drop it here, right? So if you want to customize this heading, right? Either we can do it here, in HTML elements, if you are comfortable with HTML, or we can directly change the others, directly as a text. Okay. So let me directly do it here. Okay, it's the dark theme, just to change the theme. So I'll call is heading. This is my content. You see parallelly it is typing there also, what how it will look like, kind of preview. And here whatever you want to type, you can type it. Everything will come here, and at the end of the things you need to publish it or save it here. So whatever just now we typed, that will display it here in the page. Okay. So this is how we can update the contents in HTML. For example, say you don't want HTML, we have other fields also apart from HTML. Okay. So we'll have, for example, say button, if you want to keep it, if you want to keep it heading right in the top. So let's place it. So here, this is heading. Let's change it. instead of heading my content, right? So now, and if for example, if you don't like it, you want to put some space. So we have something called separator. You come at the bottom, you can see that, right? So let's place something in middle so that it looks like little different. You can see that, right? So parallelly, I mean, you can we can just type headings, HTML, any box. If you want to say some, drop downs or tab, if you want, right? Everything you can place it here, including web content. Any button, if you want, you can add it here, right? Go somewhere. For example, say I click on something, and then you can link that button to navigate somewhere else. Any drop down, if you are interested to drop, you can drop that as well. Any image, so we have option for that as well. You can drop it here, it will display. Okay, so in image we have option to do styling as well. You see at this, you can see that, right? So here we'll have all these options, background color and stuff, right? And here if you want to select what image you want to drop, we have option to do it. This is a little slow, but since it has given you everything in UI, so it will save the time at source code level. I mean, building, deploying, compiling, all those, right? So that way it will save the time. Add. Okay, so now whatever we added, that will display here in the page. Let's publish it. So as I was telling, now nothing to do with I mean backend. I mean writing source code, building, deploying. So it saves all the time. So directly you can did everything in page, and you can publish it and see directly in the page. So if I go and see that how my content looks like, you can see it here. Maybe image size did not fit into it, that's the reason it is not displaying, but rest all you can see that, right? Headings, subheadings, then your paragraphs, all those stuff, right? So this is how I was telling that we can do it, and no need to do it source code level. And here I was telling web content, right? I'll say web content 1. And here let me drop some fields, like for example say it's a basic, so let's public like basics only, no need to change anything. Okay, so now I have option to select web content which I dropped into that page. Since I've created one web content, so that must be listed here. So maybe I'm going too fast. When we start the session in details, then we can say how it is working. You can also do parallelly later. So these all are what I'm explaining is complete out of box, nothing to do with your source code level or building, deploying everything manually, everything automated here. So if I save it, so what I did, I rendered the existing web content into the web content portlet, which is out of box. Now it is done. So what will happen now, web content is ready. So whatever you want to type it here. So for example, say I want to have some text. What I'll do, I'll go to web content, start writing something. A bit slow, so let's bear with me. Okay, so now my content is here, and let me type something. This is to the web content. We can add many more fields. This is for testing, only one field I have added. So for example, say if you want, we can add many others. Okay, so if I publish it, this is out of box. If I want to customize it, we have option to that also. As you can see that whatever I have written, that is coming here. Okay, and here it is the uh, title, the name of your web content. So for example, say if you don't like that, we have option, go to look and feel, to disable that whatever is displaying. So as you can see, there is no interaction in backend till now. Backend source code or ID, everything is happening in UI itself. So that is one of the biggest out of box features we have. Web content and content management, what we have seen it before, fragments. So here right now title was displaying, right? So what I'll do, I'll make it where one. So title will be gone now. Done. You see, there is only content. The title web content one was coming, that has gone now. So this is how we develop most of things in UI, and in backends we have option to create portlets as I told you here in as I said, here we have options. We can create modules, we can create theme, we can create portlets, everything we can create from here. So when we start our first session, I'll explain how to create it and how to build and deploy it in the portal, and how we can add. It will be same like how we were adding here. Once we build and deploy, it will be available here based on the category we select. So most of the things will have whatever category we mention, that will come here. So if I showcase you one example, so here if you can go in the top, so I have mentioned the category one stop reserved application. The same category you are able to see it here, one stop reserved application, right? So this is how it works, and how to customize it, right? So sometimes, as I told, if I drop a search tool, so either we can customize the UI part or backend, any functionality if you want to change. So if you want to change UI, we call it a fragment, and if you want to customize this API part, backend part, we call it a service wrapper. So that I'll all cover once we start the session. This is at high level. I just wanted to know what all the out of box stuff we have and how we can customize it at high level, and what are the contents which we develop from UI. There's nothing to do from backend, no source code compile, build, deployment, everything will be available here. Okay, so you can see here whatever I've written that was available. Now content, I have already talked about it. Headings, paragraph titles, images, or any radio button, drop down, everything will be available here. Again, if you want to edit, you have option to edit. If you click on edit, then it will open the a complete editor. Again, you can drag drop if you want to remove anything. So every options you will have. And if you want to add your custom portlets, you have widgets here also you can add. Okay, so everything is available, right? So this is all about the introduction and out of box custom portlets at high level. Further more questions, you can always reach out to me, which will context will be provided at the end through the organization, through the institute. So that's it for now. Thank you.